because I missed out. She was like, "Oh, there's questions." She was like, "Oh, it's supposed to be." Since I'm eating it, we're going to run it. Thank you. She was like, "Oh, there's questions." She was like, "Oh, it's supposed to be." Is that us? Yeah. Sound good? She's probably get the recorded planning board meeting from last night on the replay. We got no. Pretty good. You're good. Excellent. I would like to welcome everybody to the Wednesday, April 8th, 2026 regular school committee meeting. I will call the meeting to order at exactly 6 o'clock. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? The flag is located over Principal McKinnon's shoulder. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. And if we could just have a brief moment of reflection before we get our meeting started. Thank you all. Item 2, consent agenda. Does anyone want anything removed from the consent agenda? Otherwise, I will accept the motion to approve items 2.1 through 2.7 of the consent agenda. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Consent agenda approved. Public input. Is there any? He's looking for the. The agenda. I was going to say, if he wants to talk, we know who Mr. Marinosi is. He can chime in. Are there any comments for future agenda topics from anyone? Seeing as there are none, I will turn it over to our fearless leader on the day-to-day, Mr. Principal McKinnon, with the spring update at Wilbur McMahon School.
Great. Thank you, Chairperson Audi and members of the school committee. Tom will be getting that up there. Before Tom starts with that, located on the other side of the library, our 6th grade just took part in their symposium on Monday. And I want to shout out our 6th graders and our teachers, Miss Nicole Gay and Amy McLean. Basically, the symposium, our students spent the last several weeks researching global change makers in ingenious ways that have addressed some of the world's most critical problems. And this symposium was a culminating event where our students step into the role of the experts and share stories, mechanics, and the impacts of the innovations that they investigated. So before you leave tonight, take a few minutes just to look at some of the projects, the trifolds that they have up there. I think the thing that I found most amazing, every year it seems to get a little bit better. And this year, more than ever, the students were experts at their project. Very few of our students used even flashcards. They had them available, but they could do it without using it, which to me is amazing. And to be able to speak to adults, parents, other students, they really did a tremendous job with it. We're very proud of them. The next slide you'll see up here, our grade 8 students on March 18th participated in the advocacy program. Basically, they get up and they advocate for their community project. The community projects run the gamut, anywhere from rebuilding stone walls, the stone walls in town, stones of history, to helping the homeless. So there are some real neat programs that they're doing. Our final culminating project for the community project will be on, I believe it is the 21st of May, where they'll be presenting in here their trifolds to the public, and that will be open to the public after school hours that day. Next slide. Grade 2 musical took place, I want to say it was March 11th, which was actually the night of our last school committee meeting. But Miss Nicole Oriole and Noah Russo took our large second grade class, 29 students, and they went through a Adventures Away program. They did just again, a good job by all. For those students to be able to get up on stage and to perform the way they did was amazing. Next slide. Our band and chorus sang the national anthem, also played some pep music at the Providence Bruins game on March 21st. Again, it was very well attended. We had a lot of students, some students who weren't even in the band and chorus showed up. Some families showed up. So it was a great time had by all. Again, Miss Nicole Oriole and Noah Russo. As you know, we have our Mary Poppins that is going to be taking place Friday night, 6:30, and again on Saturday in a matinee at 2 p.m. That's certainly a big time for our WMS players in drama. Next slide. It's actually kind of a slow time right now. Spring sports has just started up. Track and field's a week into it. They are coached by Jen Shapiro. We are trying girls lacrosse. We did it last year. Not big numbers. I think we were looking at last year about 8 students. I think we're looking around the same this year. Unfortunately, right now, the girls, most of those girls are involved in Mary Poppins, and they've got other things going on after school. So hopefully next week they're able to get up and running. The first track meet is May 13th at St. George's School in Newport. We finished last week. We finished our first round of RICAS ELA. Things went very well with the RICAS. We do have a few makeups that'll be taking place next week. When we get back from the vacation, our grade 8 students will be participating in the NGSA, the Next Generation Science Assessments. Only grade 8 and grade 5 take the NGSA, but we moved up the 8th grade so that by the time they get to Washington, D.C. on May 13th, there's nothing on their plate in terms of testing. So that's why they're doing it the week we get back from vacation. RICAS math will be taking place the first week of May. As I said to our staff yesterday at our staff meeting, there's a lot of things coming down the pike the last 2 months of the school year. And just, obviously be on their toes, just be aware there's things going on all the time. And I'll have a chance at our next school committee to go over some of those things that will be taking place. A lot of neat little field trips that are going to be going on. And that is everything that's going on right now.
Thank you, Principal McCain. Really great. Over to Ms. Rosemary Kramer with our superintendent report.
Good evening.
Thank you for being here.
As you might have read, the commissioner did get approval from the Rhode Island Council of Elementary and Secondary Education for 2 emergency snow days. So that necessitates in all districts adjusting the calendar. There were only 2 districts that did virtual learning. Portsmouth was one and Little Compton was one. And most of the districts are rolling back the number of days for our students to 178 days. And for teachers, depending on the collective bargaining agreements, they are working the 2 extra days for professional development. So for the action items, you hopefully will approve an updated calendar. What we're looking at is moving our teachers would have 2 extra days or 2 days for professional development, and our students would end school on the 15th? 16th, I'm sorry, on the 16th. We would have graduation, 8th grade graduation on the 15th. And then there is a civics B That's not held here, it's held in East Greenwich.
East Greenwich at 6 o'clock at night. Yep.
And those participating would come back or go to East Greenwich on June 16th. But again, we wanted to align with Portsmouth and their schedule, and they're doing similar things.
So our last day is now the
16th.
16th, because we did have to make up one day.
And just, I'm sure you're all familiar with this, when the 8th graders graduate, because of all their time that they've spent in school beyond the school day, between Buck Hill and Washington, DC, it does count. It counts more than just a day. But they do not have to be in school on the 16th. I think there are 11, I believe there's 11 students who will be participating in the Civics Bee on May 16th at East Greenwich. I believe it's East Greenwich High School. So those students will, I'm sure Mr. Torres will be in charge of that. They didn't take a bus last year. I think families just drove over to that. And again, I say East Greenwich High School. I'm not exactly sure where it is in East Greenwich at this point in time.
Okay, so last day, the 16th, and graduation is the
15th, it's a Monday.
Just making sure, just put it into my calendar here.
And then the other conversation that we've had around the calendar was submitting our virtual learning plan sooner than next fall. We would take a look at our virtual learning plan and submit it to the Department of Education ahead of time. Portsmouth, the Portsmouth superintendent and I were talking about that, and we both wanted to submit ours ahead of time. So we would probably bring that to you at the May or June meeting.
Excellent.
And get that in ahead of time.
Yeah, let's be in sync with Portsmouth, seeing as we're the only two districts that did have the virtual. I know some districts, I mean, I don't know with the forgiven time now, but we're planning on going to the 26th of June.
Yes.
So kudos to all the central administration here, and then certainly those that prepared the school leading up to the technology, making sure our kids had access. And then Principal McKinnon, you and your staff being here over the weekend leading up to the blizzard so that those families could come and pick up their computer. That was really good foresight on your part. Anything else to share?
That's it on the calendar and the emergency snow days. The other item is the instructional leadership team updates. Jack and I have been meeting with a very talented group of teachers who serve as instructional leaders in their content area. And we're trying to lay out a plan where they continue their support for the curriculum. We want to do some curriculum mapping that needs to be done and vertical alignment. So curriculum mapping, what does a student need to know and be able to do at each grade level? And we have the pieces of that. We just needed to have it articulated in a fashion so that parents know that, and really maybe create a brochure around that so students and parents know. And when you have homeschooling approvals or people from out of town moving here or thinking about coming to Little Compton, they can see what a fourth grade student needs to know and be able to do, what a third grade student, what a fifth grade student, whatever. So that curriculum mapping is critical. The other piece is what we call vertical alignment. So we would sit with our instructional leaders and take a look at where are the gaps. And this helps with certainly our RIDECAST test. But more important than that, where are the learning gaps, if any? Is there redundancy in the curriculum? So that has been exciting. As I said, this is a very, very talented group of teachers. We're excited about our meetings. They actually asked to meet twice. They have that in their schedule. So, hopefully going forward, we will be meeting twice a week with them for about almost an hour, when you say. And we have an agenda items, and it all fits in. So it's our IB coordinator and all the content coordinators. So that has been an exciting part of my time here at Little Compton, working with those teachers.
Awesome. Thank you so
That
much.
concludes my report.
Well, runners on first and second, and now comes to the big hitter, the three hitter, Mr. John McNamee with the finance report. John, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Excellent.
So let's start off with FY 25, and there are no changes on those financials. But I wanted to give you an update on the audit process. So as you know, last month we solicited new auditors who will be actually started this week. We got a planning meeting on Tuesday. I will start next week uploading trial balances and other information to the auditors, and they've got people scheduled to get the audit set up and started. So I'm hopeful that we can move the process along, and certainly it'll go a lot quicker than it did last year, and I think a lot smoother than the 24. The school is all done. Those trial balances are ready to go. I've got probably another day and a half of work on the town side, which I'll get completed and start uploading that information next week. That's all good news. The FY 26, we've completed 9 months, and right now it looks like we're tracking towards a small surplus. For the year, we're looking at roughly right now about 24,000. Revenues are holding. We do have a little bit extra in that from the $100,000 distribution from the EBEC, the Educational Collaborative that was liquidated. And there are a little bit of an increase in expenses in terms of salaries and some additional services in student services and special education that have an increase. But overall, the budget seemed to be holding, and we should be looking at a small surplus in the general fund for 26. The capital fund, we haven't started any of the HVAC at this point in time, but I anticipate that they'll probably be starting that soon. And on the revenue side, I did get finally got the tax return filed and submitted to the IRS. So we should be receiving a refund of $168,175 for that investment credit on the solar for the capital reserve fund. As we roll into 27, the budget superintendent and I made a presentation, and some of the members of the school committee were at the budget committee meeting. So we did a presentation. I think that was pretty well received. I haven't received any other feedback from the committee, so I think things are looking good. I was at the budget committee meeting last night, and so things seem to be moving along. The public meeting is going to be on April 27th for the budget, and that's the joint meeting with the budget committee and the town council. That'll be the final kind of approval of the budget, and then that goes to print for the financial town meeting. And so things are progressing pretty well along that area as well too. Right now, it's a balanced budget on the town side, so that's all positive.
Yeah, as somebody that was in attendance at that budget committee meeting, you both did a beautiful job, and I thought that the questions from the budget committee were certainly thoughtful and warranted. And as somebody that sat through that multiple times, I did share with Rosemary, I thought it went incredibly smooth, and the presentation was quite thorough and clear. Any questions regarding Mr. McNamee's report?
Just to follow up from last month, we had talked about the solar and the packaging. So you were going to get those numbers together.
Yeah, so it's a little after 3 today. I got the 2 reports. So I'm going to analyze those. Right? And I also yesterday into the Rhode Island energy bills for October through the end of January of the current. So those are catching up. But on those energy bills, I'm not seeing the credits that are coming over from our virtual net metering. I got to follow up on that piece so that I can bring all three of them together so we can kind of see where that is all setting. But I've got their preliminary reports. I just quickly looked at them before the meeting. So I'll get those out to you guys when I get the other stuff in so we can kind of see the complete picture. But
Yeah, I mean, Rosemary's been very good with sharing information. So whenever you have that information that Michael requested, it seems like you said, you got the reports today, just forward those along, whether it be from Mr. McNamee or in your Friday update to us, to the committee, would be greatly appreciated. John, thank you. Keep fighting the fight, my man. Well done. All right, committee reports. Policy Subcommittee, we met today, again, just to discuss with any residents and or out-of-district residents regarding the tuition. Every year, the school committee sets the tuition rate for the out-of-district program. In the last year, we've received a handful of folks that participate in the out-of-district program and their feedback regarding where they want to be and what they're comparing it to when choosing Wilbur McMahon School. So we will have a vote on that later, a discussion regarding what that number will be. Other than that, there was no other policy items discussed, and I don't foresee any coming with the exception of the virtual policy, but I think that's just us approving it on this
It
body,
is,
and we already have one in place.
right. That was
So
approved.
unless there's going to be amendments to it, which I don't foresee currently.
It wouldn't be any, not major, that it would have to go before the policy subcommittee. I don't think.
No, I think it'd be the same.
Okay, so then if that's not necessary, when, our next meeting will be when needed, but we've been meeting quite regularly from the beginning of the year, which is nice to see, but no new news or policy adjustments, just an enacting of a policy this evening. Item 7.2, the Portsmouth School Committee report, Mr. Mark Gleischer.
Thank you. Just a couple of items from the March 24th meeting. Congratulations to the freshman boys and varsity boys basketball team. Both took state championships. Boys, I think, are playing on now to even higher tournament regionally, varsity. We had a couple of students, former students on the freshman team, Brendan McKinnon, Michael Chartier. They were recognized at the meeting, which was really nice. Brendan was there representing those little Compton boys. And the budget was approved and going to the Portsmouth Town meeting for final approval. So kind of the two big items that I took away from that meeting.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark.
3.1% increase overall ask due to some higher insurance and fringe benefits. That was one of the big sticking points for them this year. So I think we're seeing that.
What do you know about that higher fringe benefits and insurance costs? I know health insurance, right? Thank you, Mark.
Sure.
Wellness Committee or Ms. Suchase.
Well, the Wellness Committee met on March 31st. And at last month's meeting, we talked about Wellness Week that had occurred. So Carolyn had filled us in on that. So all I can add to that is it seemed overall, it was very well received by both students and the staff. And so that's great. I think coming up in April is a lot of Earth Day.
This next Friday, Earth Day.
And I know there's work being done on the Oasis, and so that's all great. And then there was a request for a future agenda item of regarding screen time and computer use within the school. So that'll be something that we bring up at the wellness as a wellness topic in the future. That's about it.
Excellent, Sue. Thank you. Item 7.4, Town Recreation Committee report, Mr. Mark.
Okay, thank you again. From Recreation, really nothing from our last meeting. I just do want to shout out the team here, Mr. McKinnon, Mr. Osborne, and John LaRue from the Recreation Committee for just their great communication and quick work. Still dealing with the playground and some issues that came up. Just some seamless work. Everybody being really flexible, making sure that the kids in the community stay safe out there, and the ongoing project there with the playground. That was just really great work. I was really impressed with the cooperation from the town and the school and the recreation committee, just getting stuff done just very, very quickly.
I want to give an update to that, if it's possible. Anya Wallach called me today from Town Hall and basically said, I believe John LaRue and a member from the playground company is going to be here during the April vacation, doing some work to the playground to kind of give it a little bit longer life here, to get it through the next couple of years. So I think he said they were going to be there for a couple of days, doing some work. So
But we did fix the wall, the
the
climbing
wall's been
wall.
fixed.
And that was the project that everybody was reporting in time. I mean, it was just really a great team effort to get that wall fixed. Good reporting and just everything. It's great.
Thank
But
you.
that's a good update. Thank you, Principal McKinnon.
Excellent. Item 7.5, our new Superintendent Search Committee.
So we did meet this afternoon to discuss the status of the superintendent position posting and some next steps. We, discussed some timeline around that, and I believe there's more to discuss in some of our action items later on down the road.
Yes, I will be appointing the remaining members this evening. Thank you, Amy.
Sure.
Travis, can we get where do we stand with those, like, where are our applications, where are we with the?
Yeah, can we speak to that? How many applicants have we had, Sean? Or
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the precise number off the top of my head. I know Carolyn is here. We have received several applications. They have been undergoing that initial review to make sure that they meet basic qualifications. Tonight, the chair will be taking additional action to put further stakeholders onto the superintendent search subcommittee so they can start to facilitate actual face-to-face initial rounds of interviews.
And Carolyn, can you just share how many applications we've received?
Yeah, we received about the,
Okay.
that enrollment file continue to screen. All of the requirements. It's an ongoing process. The applications are still trickling in a couple of weeks, and it's open until the end of this week. That's where we're at as of today.
So I thought we had a deadline of April 1st originally, right?
We did originally, with our new affiliation with NetSec, an opportunity to post on the site. We extended it until this week. Our meeting week. As a result, have received the feedback.
In the pool of 12 that you've received, I know we had that discussion whether we would have, if we took on retiree applicants or whether we not, the limitations of like if they could work 1 year or not. What is our pool? What do we, without going into particulars, I mean, is it 50-50 or is it more people that could work a multiple year contract for us or?
I'm not sure that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are still really doing the initial, just the bare bones. Are the requirements met in terms of do they hold certificates we need? And do they have the educational team that we're looking for? Beyond that, we haven't really gotten into, is this person retiring to take this job? Is this person, we haven't gotten to the nuances.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. So that is a good segue into the appointment of the additional individuals. The March meeting, I announced that the superintendent search subcommittee would be following the hiring protocols outlined in the Little Compton School Department Human Capital Management Policy. As you heard in the committee reports, the subcommittee met earlier today to discuss the status of recruitment and next steps. At a level 2 screening committee, they will convene after April break to interview candidates. To assist with this step, I would like to appoint the following individuals to the superintendent search subcommittee for the level 2 screening. Ms. Rosemarie Krager, our acting superintendent, Mr. Principal McKinnon, from the teachers union, Mr. Mike DeLeo, from the support union, Joshua Gay, from our school improvement team, Lori Doherty, from the CLAC organization, Jessica Rippey, and of course, Carolyn Sedgwick as our HR director. We are also going to ask that all school committee members email any questions they'd like to be considered for the interviews to the HR director no later than April 17th. So that gives us a week. Today is the 8th, correct? So by next Wednesday, I know I have a list of things that I'm looking for. I would encourage us all to send those off to Carolyn as soon as possible. Please do. If you could actually put it in the Friday memo, this way it's top of mind. And then from there, they'll do the initial screening. Keep in mind that this subcommittee is not the final decision maker. This body is. The subcommittee is put in place to get an excellent idea of who the finalist candidates will be, and then they will bring them before this committee to make a decision. So I feel very confident, and I thank all those. I see Lori in the audience, and I know that there are some faces in the crowd here tonight that will be participating on that subcommittee. And I thank you for your time and commitment to the community. Really appreciate you. Here. All right.
Just one question. When we originally set the date of April 1st, we talked about whether we would have to cast a wider net or not at that time. What's the thoughts on that right now?
That's a good, that's what we did discuss at these. And after subcommittee members do their review, they will decide, do we have enough to go forward with this process? Or do we want to repost it?
Okay.
I will say 12 is a good number. I thought we'd get like less than 5. So I feel good about that. Not that they're all qualified or whatever the case is. I know you're still filtering through, but I was surprised to even hear that number. So thank you. And as Mike says, if we need to cast the wider net, let's not hesitate to be thorough and turn every stone. All right, final piece. Consider, discuss, and approve.
You skipped 8.1.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did. You're right. I actually skipped around. Let's start with this. Consider, discuss, and vote to approve the updated school calendar. So as I understand it, graduation will be the 15th final day of school for all students. Will be the 16th, which is a Wednesday.
Tuesday.
A Tuesday, I bet. I'm just listening. I'm learning here too. So Monday. Wow. I talked to multiple people in the last 24 hours that are like, my last day is the 26th. Oof. Good work over there at Central Administration. So I will entertain a motion to approve the updated school. And in terms of getting this out to parents, so they know, how are we doing?
We'll put it in Parent Square.
Yeah, we'll have it up tomorrow.
Okay.
Have it up tomorrow.
So do I have a motion to approve the updated 25-26 school calendar? So do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I have one question for Mr. McKinney. How is this going to affect or not affect that 10% with when we have some certain students, that whole 18 days, it's 18 days of school. So how does that, because that's based on the 180. So how does that come to play?
It'll probably be not even one day. I'm not too worried about that. I think right now our attendance is good. There's certainly things that we're watching in there. Overall, our attendance, from a 1 year to the last, our attendance is 16% better this year than it was last year. So that's a good thing. Yeah, I don't think that's an issue right now that we have to watch.
I'd rather ask the question now than not, so that any families don't get jammed up.
Yeah. There's really no jamming that gets on. It's more if students or families are have more days on there, there are some things that do take place, but right now we're in a pretty good place.
All right, good discussion. We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor of approving the updated 25-26 school calendar? Aye. Any opposed? Work. Rosemary, thank you for being so diligent. I know just during that storm, you were very informative with this entire board regarding what your day-to-day looked like, not just what was happening at the school, but what was also happening at the state level. And to kind of have that peace of mind. I know for one, I wasn't like wandering around going, what's happening? Why don't we know? So I appreciate that communication. I think we all do. All right, item 8.3, consider, discuss, and approve the non-resident student policy and tuition rate. So as I shared earlier, we had a policy subcommittee meeting in which there was one attendee. She seems to be a consistent attendee to the school, the policy subcommittee meeting whenever we're talking about the tuition rate. And last year we upped it for new students to 6180 while leaving the students that were already enrolled at 6,000. And in talking to her and others, it really isn't an equitable piece. So my thought is to bring everyone up to that 6180. And while I know there will be folks that don't think that is enough, one thing that was brought to our attention in the last year was an out-of-district parent that sent us the tuitions for all the parochial schools in the area. And I have that list right here, and I'll be willing to share those numbers. So Wilbur McMahon School would be at 6180. St. Michael's School is at 5100. St. Stanislaus School is at 5400. Holy Name School is at 5350. Espirito Santo School is at 4950. And Anatoch School is at 5113. So I know that we've had presentations in the past where we're comparing us to some of the top private schools in the state. And while I'd like to think that we can go toe-to-toe to them with outcomes, the reality is the folks that are sending their students to our district are much more in the line of identifying us with neighboring parochial schools from Fall River, Portsmouth, Middletown, and Newport. And I'm very tentative to blow that number up. I also want the committee to keep in mind that we started this program in 2019 at 15,000. We dropped it to 12, 10, 9, and settled on 6. When I joined this committee, there was 6 out-of-district students. We now have how many?
43?
43. This policy, or excuse me, this inaction of bringing everyone up to the 6180 would impact 25 students and 20 families. So it breaks down to approximately $20 a month over the course of the year. If you have 1 student, 2 students is $40 a month, 3 students, 60, and so on and so forth. I don't believe we have anyone with more than 3 out-of-district students. So yeah, we have to set the number every year. And that's just where my thoughts are at. We can certainly discuss it if there's a motion made, or we can discuss it.
Can anyone speak?
I mean, sure, I'll allow it, Sal.
I will. Thank
I'll
you.
allow it. I'll allow.
Thank you. Sal Marinosi. While I don't have students in the school, I'm very interested in the school. All the towns, all the schools you mentioned aren't funded by taxpayers. They're funded by private funds, okay, and dioceses in some cases. While I appreciate what you're doing, I really do. I just think that there has to be a little more parity to our cost relative to the students you're letting in. And while I know some of these people can't afford more, I think we can look at other ways of funding them if need be, if there's a hardship. But I really believe you should look at this number. There's a lot of people that can't come to these meetings that I talk to. And I don't want to be the person always talking. I've talked to you, Travis.
I know, it's tough. We are the people.
We're the people.
I know.
We stand up. And I really believe you have to look at this number because there's a lot of people out there hurting. And they see this. It's not a good look for the school. You got to remember, the state report on funding for our students is 40,000 a student. And
Which is
they're-
incorrect, just to be clear.
Well, no, their numbers take everything into consideration,
No,
busting, et cetera.
No, it's actually not even close to
Don't
that.
include the Portsmouth students.
Yeah.
That's what I just said. Yeah, I know it's like 29, but they look at these numbers and I tell everybody that's not the number. The number is 20. But when you compare 29 to 6,100, it's just so different. And I really believe you have to sit down and come up with something that makes a little more sense for us. And any increase would be really appreciated towards that end. That there's people out there that are really, I'm sitting down with them and they're not being belligerent. They're not, none of us are.
No, I know.
I love your school. I love what you're all doing. I think you're doing a great job. I want to see it continue. Said we've got a balanced budget. That's not true. You can't balance a budget after you put a tax increase in. A balanced budget is without a tax increase. They're coming up with the numbers and filling it with what they need. That's not a balanced budget. We're paying more taxes. What I'm saying is we're paying more taxes against it again this year. I'm not against paying more taxes, but I want a bang for my buck, and this isn't the way. You're part of the increase this year. They have to pick up part of that increase. It's only fair. They need to pick up what, I think it's around 200,000, your increase this year.
Correct, 200 and
Yeah.
change, yeah.
Pick up part of it with that. Make an effort. Show us an effort on your part. I humbly beseech you.
Thank you, Sal.
Thank you.
So, well, you're right. I mean, we've had discussions, and one thing we did talk about at the policy subcommittee meeting, what we think is a great opportunity, because this isn't an overnight fix. We're very sensitive to the fact that with these 40+ students, we're generating between $250,000 and $300,000 in revenue to the school that offsets the appropriation. But we also realize that it's not enough. So that being said, we are pursuing a charter piece. It's going to take time. It's going to take time. But if we do get the charter piece down the road, we use an example being Tiverton. Instead of it being 6,180 out of pocket at the family, it would become at the district level. So it'd be closer to 16,000 that the district pays, taking the burden off the family, making the taxpayer in Little Compton more whole, and then filling the seats. We do know, as everybody will attest, if we have more students in the seats, our costs will come down. At the same time, we're also aware that if we did a 12% increase like we did with the tax levy last year, we would lose quite a few students, and that seems to be the feedback. So I don't want to say, we're between a rock and a hard place. There's no sweeping fix for this overnight.
Again, may I?
Please.
I really believe that any increase, I'm not talking about 0.5%, but any increase would be looked at favorably. And I don't think that's too much to ask.
No,
I think that's what we're.
yeah, that's our goal
what we're
tonight.
Proposing.
Yeah, to bring, last year we were short-sighted in the sense of it being in the subcommittee meetings, you get the parents that come in, and one thing that was brought to light with myself and Vice Chair Amy was, we had families at 6,180 and we had families at 6,000, and that's just not equitable. Like, why penalize? Everyone should be at that higher number.
I'm talking about something a little more substantial though. And why I say that is I'm as much a numbers guy as anybody.
Mhm.
All right. I did that for a living. I ran large projects. I know what loading is, everything. And for people to look at what our cost is for a student and look at what we charge them, it's just so much for them to overcome. All right, it's just too much for them to overcome. When they look at that, they say, my God, we're giving our school away and we're paying for it. Now, there's a lot of people like myself that don't have children in the school. And they're saying, why are we doing this? Why am I paying for the student to come in? Why am I paying to teach that student? Why am I picking up the delta, the cost for that student? So I think you really have to look at that number and be pragmatic and say that we've got to do something that's a little more equal here. And I say this because you're going to go to a town financial meeting and you're going to hear a lot of buzz. It's not a good look for the school either to be in that. I'm not going to call it a controversy. I'm going to call it an item that we're all going to be discussed. I want to discuss how we move forward. I don't want to discuss how do we fund X, Y, and Z. I'm all for the school grown in a proper way. And I want to be out there talking on your behalf. I don't want to be out there talking against what you're trying to achieve. And I hate to say it this way, I do a lot of talking. And
No.
You stay out of this, just run the camera. What I'm saying is I talk to people in this town all day. And I have a good finger on the pulse of the people. And I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm not trying to be against you. I'm for you. I'm trying to make it easier for you. But you got to help me with that.
Respectfully, I think what we have is the evidence of the past, and that when the tuition was proposed at these higher rates, we weren't getting applications. And I think we're in a very delicate position where we do have currently enrolled families in this program that we don't want going elsewhere because of a competitive,
Well, we don't want to pass that along to the
then
taxpayer.
that doesn't serve us either.
Yeah.
But if
Every year the bus leaves, this train leaves. It costs $8 million, whether there's 180 little Compton kids in it or there's 250 with the out of district.
I think we have to face reality. Are we going to, are the residents of Little Compton, as this enrollment decreases from town children and you increase the enrollment from out-of-state kids, are we going to pick up the cost of a private school? Are we going to do that? Is that what we're going to do?
That was clearly a decision that was made before the time of anybody on this committee. In 2014, the town thought we should build a bigger school.
But we're in the minutia of that. We're in the operation of that.
Correct.
And how we handle it is up to us. It's not up to here with the people who were here before.
Correct. And to Amy's point, we had the tuition at a higher rate and didn't get anybody.
I think what we should do is try to build the tuition up a little bit more and let people understand it's going to go up a little more because the tax rate's going up. Our people are paying more, John, you know that.
So our proposal today, Sal, is this body was capped at a 3% increase. That's what we're going to do for our families. We're going to bring everybody up to that 6180, which is a 3% increase from the 6,000. So there's going to be 11 families that aren't impacted by that because they're already at the 6180, but then there's going to be 20 families that are impacted by that. And I know it's not a sweeping
Well,
fix.
listen,
but
we're
we're
not
trying
talking dollars
to-
because we're talking a big delta between the
Correct.
actual cost and what we're charging.
Correct.
But at least go up to the tax rate. That the tax increase is going to be what, 4%? Or 4 point,
Well, the rate itself is probably going to go.
the increase, the percentage of
Rate
it.
is going to go, I believe, with the homestead exemption. Right now, we have to go from 479 to 485. So it's not a 4% increase because you've got value that have been added to the town, which obviously then gets, fed back to the taxpayers. So the 4% is the levy from last year. And by law, we can't increase it by more than that 4%.
Yeah, so I say go up to 4% of the levy, equal the same amount. So you can at least say you had a 4% increase here and we're charging 4% more. We're passing that increase along.
So we did that last year. Our increase was 2.62%. We went up to 3. This year we're at 3. We're going to bring everybody up to that number. As Amy said, I think the word best describes it as delicate. We can't, with the pursuit of this charter, we can't lose seats from, we have to continue to trend in this direction. We have to continue to have strong outcomes. We have to continue to be a desirable place that people want to come. Otherwise, the state isn't going to entertain a charter piece. And then the burden is going to be on the taxpayer. As I've shared with you in the past, Sal, I'll certainly share with this room, we're beholden to the state of Rhode Island until 2034 when the bond is paid. Until that time, we got to do the dance. Otherwise, we'll miss out on the opportunities that come with the housing aid. And then certainly the ability to pursue the charter. So we're thinking about the parents and families that came in here. I'm sensitive to the taxpayer. I am one of them, but it's not.
But I understand you're loaded.
That is not actual. I mean, I'm sensitive to the taxpayer, but at the same time, as I shared at the beginning of this, it's not a sweeping fix. We have to be, we're trying to be creative in all our avenues, but we also, I don't think an equitable response would be to bring everyone from 6180 down to the 6. I think everybody coming from the 6 to the 6180 is a step in that direction. And then this is something we can talk about year in and year out. But I do feel like that 6 is that sweet spot. And I say that because we started at 15. We went to 12. We went to 10. And we didn't have any enrollment at those numbers. We didn't have any enrollment at 8 or 7. And 6 was the one that kind of started the ball rolling. Now we actually have something. I mean, the first year I was on this committee, it was 6 students. And now we're up to the mid 40s. So we're doing something right. We're being, people from neighboring districts are targeting our school because we're getting the desired outcomes. We have the classroom sizes. And that will continue. Even as we continue to grow, we're still going to be in ratios that are far below any public or even the parochial schools in some cases that are on this list that are at 25 and higher.
One more question.
Please.
Then I'll get off your case. Is it 48? I'm sorry, John. 48 students?
43.
43?
Yeah.
Do the 43 students affect the amount of teachers that we have?
Principal McKinnon.
Do the 43 students affect the number?
Yes.
No, we still have the same number of teachers in here without,
If I took the 43 students away,
we still have the same number of teachers. Yeah.
you would need, I don't mean what you have, you would need 43, you would need the same amount of teachers.
Correct. The policy is written so that we won't take on any more FTEs with the advent of the students. So if these 43 students disappeared tomorrow, we would still have the same number of teachers. There would just be more empty seats in every classroom. So it's, as I shared, it's not a simple fix. I know you're a thoughtful individual. It's something that, the conversation is ongoing. It's certainly something, a year ago, we weren't even talking about charter or possibly, right now within the state, Massachusetts has the right to choose. You can go to whatever school you want based on the capacity of the school and them allowing entry. There's regionalization talks in the state of Rhode Island. There's school districts that are shutting down schools, most notably our neighbor to the north. If we continue with these outcomes, it'll be a driver to fill the seats. If we continue to fill the seats and have these strong outcomes, we'll be an excellent candidate to have that charter piece. And once we get that charter piece, it'll not only offset the cost for our taxpayers, but it'll offset the cost of the families that are targeting Wilbur McMahon School. So that's really what the goal is. Unfortunately, just like anything, it's not an overnight success. It's going to take time, but we have to stay diligent.
You got to remember something. Time is valuable.
I know. No, I know.
I'm 86.
You only got like 25 more years here. So like, keep it going. Keep it going. Come on, you're a young man. Yeah, I know it's go ahead, Sue.
Well, Sal, I wanted to say one of the aspects of this, and we've discussed it at several of the meetings, is that, when you talk about 6,000 versus 16, when we add these students, there are so many fixed costs that don't increase for that student. It brings our overall cost down. We don't provide transportation for them. As we said, we cap our classrooms so that we aren't hiring additional teachers for these out of town students to come in. So that's something that, I do a lot of talking to, Sal, and that's something that especially our age group has a hard time understanding. So if you want to be our advocate, sit down with Mr. McNamee and he can give you the.
Oh, he's sick of me already. That's the last person he'd sit down with.
Don't increase. So, that's, I don't like that to be lost in the shuffle, because it is an important factor. And it is important that we keep this school open. When I ran for this position, that was the big thing that people said to me, is you've got to figure out how to keep that school open in lieu of declining enrollment. So I think, as Travis says, we're doing our due diligence to keep that in the forefront of the decisions we make.
Thank you. Thank you for.
No, thank you. I know this. Go
The
ahead,
other
Mark.
piece too, to remember that we've talked about a lot during having these discussions, and we've been really thoughtful about it, especially thinking about creating the charter school, is also wanting to retain families and do right by those that are already enrolled. And a major jump in sort of the cost of enrollment just isn't fair to everybody. And we want the families that are here now to stay here, for those siblings to be able to stay together, for the friendship and the community that we're building with the 43 students that are here, and over the years, how that number has increased. We want to just make sure that we have a great school here and that families aren't priced out, because it would be a shame to look for a couple of dollars that don't really make a big difference in the moment or even in the long run, and disallow families that are working really hard to pay this tuition and are contributing to our community to not be able to go all the way through to graduate in 8th grade. So you can almost think of it in some ways as like a membership. Like if you're all of a sudden, like, people are paying a lot more and then there's a lot less and there's a big discrepancy, it becomes problematic. So we have to increase at 3% seems very fair and it seems in line. I mean, we're arguing between 3% and 4%. We're right where you want us to be. So I think we're all kind of saying the same thing. So.
And we're hearing from families at our subcommittee meetings that those couple of percentages would make or break their enrollment here.
Mm.
Like, for a family, it, you know, it is gonna
You know,
make them go elsewhere.
one of the,
So then we're going from 6180 to 0. And that's what concerns me.
one of the
Then-
things that I tell people, I raised 5. Okay, all through private schools. All 5 of them. 4 of them, actually even Elizabeth.
Yeah.
5 went through college. And we funded them through college. And all the time I was raising my 5, and I had my children in private schools, I was unaware of the tax rate and what it was doing, what the school was doing in the town. Because I was just paying it because I was worried about paying the tuitions of my children in the schools I was sending them to. But what I've heard lately from some of the older residents in this town, and they're stressing about this, and they see this, and a lot of this happens, you know, if the town buys a new truck off, you know, it gets, the spotlight is on that item. If they hire 2 more people, the spotlight is on that item, naturally. But this school represents a big number in our town. It's 50% of our budget.
Correct.
You know, and so you'll have to forgive the fact that they looked at a school and they say, oh my God, more money, you know, and they listen to this. So if you got to keep this in mind in the future, and you have to come up with something that's a little more equitable for the people of the town, because they're not seeing it right now. All right, and they're not as capable as I am.
Fair.
I mean, the school doesn't bother me, but I'm capable. A lot of people aren't capable, and I listen to them. I have coffee with them. I give them rides. I go to their houses. We talk. We go to places together. And their mothers and fathers, they're older. Some of them live alone. Some of them we've donated wood to heat their houses
Yeah, no, and
during the
there's
year.
economic challenges in town.
I mean, there's some stories you don't know about. Maybe there's stories you do know about. But what I'm saying is, there's a lot of stories out there that of people that are right over here, and it's hurting. And so that number hurts them. Okay, I'll leave you alone. Thank you.
Trust, want to follow up this.
Go ahead, Michael, and then we'll have a motion.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start off with saying that our budget this year, we were short 115,000, well, we had to take money from capital to cover that, to make it a balanced budget for us, right? Huh?
You're going down.
I'm gonna go down this road because
Okay.
yeah, we had to cover our budget this year. And the fact that we are dictating our tuition based on what parents feel like they can pay or are comfortable paying is not the right way to do it. That's not the correct way to run this business, to run this facility. You don't go to a supermarket and tell the supermarket what you want to pay for their food.
Michael, do you know why we only, why we had,
can I-
no, do you know why we had to borrow that?
Why did we have to
Why did
borrow?
we have to borrow that?
I'm telling, we're talking about tuition.
I know. Why did we have to borrow that money to balance our budget?
The 115.
Yeah, why did we have to borrow that?
Part of that was because some of that got moved over from the town to us.
Yeah, but why?
Okay, so let
ultimately-
me finish my
No,
thing about the
listen,
tuition.
why did we have to borrow? This, you talk about,
Here we go.
Michael, you talk about that added cost. We were told by the town we could not go above 3%. If we could, we wouldn't have to borrow that money. But we stayed diligent and within that number. That's why we borrowed from money that we diligently saved.
Yeah.
But go ahead about your tuition.
Yeah, so basically for us to sit here and all of our expenses go up year after year after year. Yes, it's 200,000 to 250,000, maybe a little bit less. So within a 5-year period, it's over $1 million. That's gone up. And yes, the tuition rate was set at the $10,000 mark. And then at first, when it got dropped, when there wasn't a lot of takers, it was asked to go down to 4,000. Then it was said that's too low. Then they settled at 6,000, right? So for us to stay at a $6,000 number, or as you're proposing, a 6,180 number, to me is still not enough. I'm the one that came in and proposed when I suggested all the other schools with the rates, and I have no problems telling people that they were paying a lot more money than what we're charging. As far as the schools that you've used as an example, what part of that is the diocese kicking in on top of that?
I'm just using comparables.
Well,
you were comparing us to the most expensive schools in the state in Providence. That's not really that's not a reality.
But I also
out of district.
I also compared this to schools in Portsmouth though, too.
Which was significantly higher as well.
First, when I came back to this body, when
Michael, you were also the only one that voted against the increase last year.
because you wanted to increase it 6180, you
An
wanted
increase-
$180.
A step in the right direction,
Then you come.
as
back and say
Mr.
it's not.
Marinosi said.
Why don't we, personally, I don't think the 4% is enough. But I would settle it, the 4% comes back at 6450. Do you think that that's gonna really make or break everybody that's coming here?
I think we need to be as sensitive as possible with everything else that,
We also need to,
gas went up $1 in the last month.
but we also need to be sensitive to the people of this town. This is who we represent.
I agree. And Michael, whether or not if we don't have those 43 students, our fixed costs it's still 8 million and change to operate this school.
I don't agree.
And you're bringing in $250,000 a year in out of district, which over a 4-year period is $1 million that you just mentioned. We're not perfect, but we're trying to be as creative as possible.
So then do a good faith effort and save and move it up a little bit. So basically you want to move up to 6,000, but you don't want to move up to 6180 number.
No, I don't. I want everybody to be on a level playing field.
So you rather our expenses go up and then the number stays stagnant.
No, our expenses, everyone's expenses are going up. Everyone's.
So why are we charging more?
Because Michael,
You just mentioned
we
the
won't
gas.
have any students. We've already been down this road. And now you're asking in the most inflationary period in our lifetimes, post-COVID, to have an increase when families are literally living paycheck to paycheck. Mr. Marinosi even outlined the people that are in this town that are afraid of the costs. So that's true of both people that are retired on fixed incomes, and that's true of working class people that don't have enough to make ends meet. So we want to be sensitive in making sure that they can continue to pursue a quality education, which is, in my mind, the greatest differentiator that you can provide to the youth.
Our tuition, out of town tuition program is not going to be the solution to this town's financial
No.
despair.
Nobody
It's-
said it's going to, but it's a good
It
faith
can be a
effort.
piece of the puzzle, and that's what I think we're doing. Yes, this is a good faith effort, and I'm not going to be, because I feel like last year we talked about it, it was rushed because of the timing of things when we found out about the town finances and when we were discussing this item. And I don't want to be rushed into making a decision that's gonna have big implications
I
for
don't
the families
want
that
you-
are currently enrolled.
I don't,
And I think, at this point, it's like, I'd like to just call a point of order. I'm ready to make a motion on this item. So I'd like to just,
can I say just one thing?
I mean,
I'm not asking for you to rush into anything, but you just said something. You said our small amount
right,
is not,
this is a good faith effort that we're making. And
I rushed around for the last 2 years to try to save this town. Just a couple of $100,000. And I spent a lot of my time and effort and a lot of my own money to do that, because it means that much more, a little bit on everybody's taxes. That's all I'm at. I'm not asking for you to rush into a fool's game of raising this to $8,000. I'm realistic. But if you made this 6,500, you would say something like, we're making this 6,500. We realize the people of the town are realizing a tax increase 2 years in a row. So we're making a good faith effort to have this realized part of our expense. That's all I'm asking.
This 6,500 only increases our appropriation when we go before the town. We will lose students unequivocally.
We're hearing that
We
at our
absolutely heard
subcommittee
it.
meetings, that
It's a
that's
diff-
gonna price families out. So
You
Correct.
just used the example of $20 a month more.
Yeah, for 6,180, it's $20 a month.
I just came up at 60, for 6,500, it came up to 541 a month versus the 508, which is current. So it's less than $40 a month.
For 500, that's not correct. 61, so you
So,
take
like-
$180 and divide it by 9, because there's 9 months,
Divided by 9.
because there's 9 months in the school year,
So that-
and there's
that-
trimesters.
that doesn't
So,
mean that's how we have to pay it.
well, that's how
If
they're
you're really
currently
concerned
paying.
about the people that are out of town.
Trust me, Michael, I am. I've done the math on this.
Well, I know when the diocese used to call me and say it's an increase this year of so many hundreds of dollars, I had to pay it. And I was a working man, and I had to pay it.
so
I understand.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the non-resident student policy and tuition rate at 6180.
There's a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-1. Other than that, any requests for information from administration or legal? We have the request from Mr. McNamee regarding the solar apparatus and that billing, which will be shared with us. Anything else for legal counsel?
For John, just to follow back up on your report, but you said that the AC had not started, that project hadn't started yet. Do we know that that is going to start, and how does that play in as far as the timeline?
Yeah, certainly no, our superintendent was involved with that closely, but I think the equipment has been ordered, so I think once that's in, they'll probably either schedule it when school ends. So we're probably looking at towards the middle of June. Probably some preliminary work, because they're gonna have to work in the classroom, so rather than being disruptive to the school day, they'll probably start that as soon as the school ends.
Yeah, that was my concern, that we weren't gonna be disrupting schools, but at the same time, I know it gets hotter during the summer months and wanting to know where that all stood. So basically, gotta tough it out from winter to summer, till
We got
June.
them some portable fans.
And
More
portable
spring.
fans. Not in the budget, John.
All right. That being said, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Right, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you all for joining us tonight.
If you for listening, Paul,
Oh, thank you.